All right, so we're diving into something pretty epic this time.
Yeah, this one's a big one.
You guys really threw down the gauntlet with this one. The Way of Kings, first book in Sanderson's Stormlight Archive.
It's a whole universe we're talking about here.
Right, we've got reviews and theories, notes on Sanderson himself.
It's going to be a long one for sure.
So let's just jump right in and head over to Roshar.
I think we're ready.
This is a pretty crazy world, right? I mean, the whole planet is just hammered by these insane high storms.
Like a hurricane, but times 1,000.
And they've shaped everything, the whole ecosystem.
I mean, even the plants and animals are crazy.
Yeah, like chill.
These massive crab-like things that people use like pack animals.
It's wild.
Can you imagine?
Or chasm fiends.
Oh, yeah. Those things are terrifying.
Basically giant monstrous lobsters.
The Alethi hunt them for sport.
That's the dominant human society there, by the way.
Right, the Alethi.
Talk about surf and turf.
It's amazing how Sanderson takes these things we kind of know
Right.
and twists them into something totally alien.
But somehow it works.
Yeah, it's super believable.
Totally. So anyway, the story kicks off.
With a bang.
Ooh, yeah.
The assassination of King Gavilar Kholin.
Throws the whole Alethi kingdom into chaos.
And then there's the war with the Parshendi.
Another piece of the puzzle.
They're a whole other race, their own culture, their own abilities.
Right. And then there's this mystery hanging over it all.
The Knights Radiant.
This ancient order of warriors just vanished centuries ago.
You can definitely feel their absence.
Oh, yeah. It drives a lot of the characters and their motivations.
Speaking of Sanderson.
You know he loves his magic systems.
Oh, he goes all out.
And the Way of Kings has several...
Let's start with Shardblades.
These mystical swords that can cut through almost anything.
They kill you instantly.
Pretty intense.
It really makes you wonder how anyone could fight them.
Right, well that's where Shardblade comes in.
Oh yeah, the magical armor.
It boosts the wearer's abilities.
And it heals itself.
Imagine that kind of tech.
Could change the course of history.
And then there's Soulcasting.
Now that one really got me thinking.
You can transform one substance into another.
It's like alchemy on steroids.
What are the limits? Right, can you turn anything into anything else?
Well, that's a question Sanderson explores throughout the series.
I can't wait to see where it goes.
But even that's not all.
There's more.
Oh yeah, surge binding.
It sounds almost mythical.
It's a power we only get glimpses of in this book.
It's like the secret waiting to be revealed.
Sanderson is a master at that.
Definitely keeps you hooked.
Keeps you coming back for more.
So speaking of things that keep you hooked,
The character
we've
arc.
got three main protagonists.
Each with their own story.
Right, so first you've got Kaladin,
Former surgeon.
now a slave,
Yeah, forced to work as a bridgeman.
carrying these massive bridges across deadly chasms.
Kaladin's story is really powerful.
I think a lot of people can relate to him.
He's dealing with depression, PTSD,
It's a lot to carry.
but he keeps fighting.
Not just for himself.
For the other bridgemen, too.
He's an unlikely leader.
But a beacon of hope for sure.
Then there's Dalinar Kholin.
Haunted by his past,
He's hyper...
trying to hold on to his sanity.
and his honor in a world that's pretty cutthroat.
It's a tough balancing act.
And he's obsessed with this ancient text.
The Way of Kings.
What do you think draws him to it?
I think he's looking for answers.
Maybe a way to redeem himself?
Or unite his people.
That was a pretty fractured society.
It's definitely a complex situation.
And then there's Shallan Devar.
A young woman with a photographic memory.
And a hidden agenda.
She's trying to become the ward of Jasna Kholin.
Talk about ambitious.
Jasna is a renowned scholar and a soulcaster.
So powerful.
But Shallan's motives are a mystery.
She's definitely hiding something.
Plus, she's planning a theft.
It's a dangerous game she's playing.
We can't forget about Szeth either.
Oh yeah, the assassin in white.
He's this enigmatic figure.
Almost like he's being controlled.
His path seems to be intertwined with our main characters, though.
Adds a whole other level of danger.
Speaking of societal norms,
Oh yeah.
did you notice the thing about women covering their left hands?
Yeah, it comes up a lot.
It's got to be significant.
It makes you wonder why.
Maybe a religious thing.
Or something more sinister.
It's just another one of those details that makes Sanderson's world so rich.
Speaking of world building,
Sanderson really goes all out.
like the way eye color determines your social status.
Right, you've got the light eyes,
The elite and the dark eyes.
the working class.
It's a pretty stark reminder of how prejudice can be.
It makes you think about real-world parallels.
And then you have the Parshendi.
Their whole culture is fascinating.
Yeah, their warrior society is based on rhythms and chants.
It's not what you'd expect.
Definitely subverts our expectations.
And speaking of unique culture,
Don't forget the Spren,
these magical beings tied to nature.
like Sylphrina.
The wind Spren who bonds with Kaladin.
Such a cool concept.
Like having a little piece of magic with you.
They're more than just companions, though,
Right, they're sentient.
with their own personalities and motivations.
They're connected to Roshar's ecosystem.
It adds another layer to the magic system.
It's about understanding nature, respecting it.
I wonder what other kinds of Spren are out there.
Oh, there are plenty more to discover.
And remember, we're only seeing a small part of Roshar.
Just a sliver of the continent.
There's a whole world out there waiting to be explored.
This is just the beginning.
Oh yeah, this is just book 1.
Out of 10.
It's mind-blowing when you think about the scope of it all.
But Sanderson makes it feel personal.
It's true, each character, each story really grabs you.
That's the sign of a great writer.
So we've barely scratched the surface here.
We've got strange creatures, powerful magic, compelling characters.
But what really makes this book stand out
Is how Sanderson brings it all together.
creates a world that's both familiar and extraordinary.
And he's just getting started.
This is the first step in a much larger journey.
Stick with us.
We'll be diving even deeper into the mysteries of Roshar.
In the next part of our deep dive,
So we're back and still thinking about all those crazy magic systems.
there's a lot to unpack there.
We talked about Shardblades and Shardplates, Soulcasting.
But there's this whole other layer to it.
Right, something to Stormlight.
Yeah, it's like this raw energy.
Stormlight's a life force.
And it comes from the storm.
The very storms that define Roshar.
Right. And people can capture it.
Store in gemstones.
Like little batteries.
Exactly, and then use it to power things.
All sorts of things.
From lanterns to, like, complex devices.
I mean, imagine a compass.
That always points you to safety during a high storm.
Or something that can heal wounds.
Using Stormlight.
That's some powerful stuff.
It makes you wonder what else they could do with it.
Right. We're only seeing a fraction of its potential in this book.
Like Sanderson's holding back.
Saving the best for later.
He loves to keep us guessing.
Makes you want to keep reading.
Speaking of things that keep you hooked.
Kaladin.
Oh yeah, his journey is something else.
What really got to you about his story?
His resilience. He goes through so much.
Betrayal, slavery, witnesses countless deaths.
But he never gives up.
He keeps fighting.
For himself and for those around him.
It's like protecting others gives him strength.
He becomes this symbol of hope for the other bridgemen.
They're all suffering too.
Remember that line he quotes from his father?
Life is priceless,
It's so powerful.
even in the face of all that despair.
It's interesting how Sanderson tackles mental health.
Yeah, it's woven right into the story.
Kaladin's depression, his PTSD,
It's not ignored, it's a part of him.
makes his triumphs even more meaningful.
It adds another layer of realism to the fantasy.
Reminds us that even in a world with magic and mythical creatures,
People still face real struggles.
and it's not all hope and resilience.
No, we've got characters like Sadeas,
The scheming High Prince.
always manipulating, always hungry for power,
He's constantly undermining Dalinar.
trying to unite the kingdom.
But Sadeas just wants more power for himself.
He's blinded by ambition,
Doesn't see the bigger picture.
the threat that hangs over them all,
And his actions have serious consequences.
for everyone.
Makes Dalinar's struggles even more poignant.
He's trying to do the right thing.
But he's fighting on multiple fronts.
External forces, his own inner demons.
It's like he's searching for a way to bring everyone together.
Find that common ground.
To face the real threats.
And as we learn more about Roshar,
Those threats become pretty clear.
the Parshendi, for example.
They're not just the enemy.
No, they have their own motivations.
Their own history, their own purpose. It's another example of how Sanderson challenges our expectations.
He doesn't do simple good versus evil.
The Parshendi are complex.
Fierce warriors, but with this deep spiritual side.
Their connection to music is fascinating.
It's another layer to their culture.
And then there are the hints about something even bigger.
The Voidbringers,
It's like this ancient evil lurking in the shadows.
waiting to return,
It adds a sense of urgency to the story.
like the clock is ticking.
Makes you wonder if our heroes can come together in time.
Kaladin, Dalinar, Shallan.
Can they set aside their differences?
To face this greater threat.
It's a big question.
They each have their strengths and weaknesses.
But together,
They could be unstoppable.
we see glimpses of it throughout the book.
Like when Kaladin uses his powers to protect Dalinar in battle.
Those little hints of what they could achieve.
If they learn to trust each other,
And Shallan,
her journey is all about self-discovery.
confronting her past, embracing her potential,
We learn more about her photographic memory.
and the secrets she's been carrying.
She's more than just a thief.
She's a complex character with her own demons.
Her artistic talents will be important too,
It's not something you usually see in epic fantasy.
but Sanderson makes it work.
It suggests that creativity and imagination will be key.
In the fight against the Voidbringers,
And don't forget, she's trying to become Jasna's ward.
Dalinar's niece.
Another connection, another thread in the story.
Sanderson is weaving a very intricate web here.
As the Way of Kings comes to an end,
We're left with this mix of hope and uncertainty.
things are coming together.
Ancient powers are reawakening.
But the path forward is still unclear.
That's what makes Sanderson so good.
He gives us these amazing worlds, these characters we care about.
And these stories that just pull you in.
But he also leaves us with questions.
Mysteries to ponder.
He makes us think.
He doesn't just tell a story.
He invites us to be a part of it,
To speculate, to theorize.
to join him in the creative process.
That's what makes reading his books so rewarding.
So we've covered a lot of ground here.
Magic systems, character development, the looming threat of the Voidbringer.
But we've only scratched the surface.
The Way of Kings has so much more to offer.
And the best part is,
This is just the beginning.
of a much bigger story.
One that spans worlds and lifetimes.
So stick with us for the final part of our deep dive.
We're going even deeper into the Stormlight Archive.
So we've made it, the final part of our Way of Kings deep dive. We've seen these incredible landscapes, explored the magic, met some unforgettable characters.
But there's something about the way Sanderson tells this story that really sets it apart.
He weaves all these different storylines together, each one with its own voice, its own perspective.
And they all come together to form this, I don't know, this tapestry almost.
Yeah, exactly. You've got Kaladin fighting for survival, searching for redemption.
You've got Dalinar trying to find the truth, unite his people.
And Shallan, on her journey of self-discovery, it's like each thread pulls you deeper into the world.
And you never know quite how they'll connect.
But you just trust that Sanderson will tie it all together.
And he does.
Yeah.
In a way that's both surprising and satisfying.
Like that moment in the final battle
Oh, yeah.
when Kaladin swoops in to save Dalinar.
Uses his Windrunner powers. Amazing scene.
It's not just action, though. It
Yeah.
shows how much these characters have grown.
How their motivations have changed.
It's like those aha moments, those moments of realization.
Well, you see all the pieces click into place.
That's what makes Sanderson's book so good.
He makes you want to go back and reread.
To catch those little details you might have missed the first time.
Things that suddenly take on new meaning.
He doesn't just tell you everything.
No, he makes you work for it a little.
He wants you to think, to put the clues together.
And that makes the payoff even better.
Like you've earned it.
You feel like you've really uncovered the secret.
And then there's the ending.
The Sanderlanche.
It's like a whirlwind of action, revelations, emotions.
It leaves you breathless.
You finish the book and you just want more.
It's the kind of ending that stays with you.
It's Sanderson's ability to build tension.
The anticipation.
And then it all explodes.
He's a master of that.
He doesn't shy away from those high stakes.
He creates these moments of epic grandeur.
That really leave a mark.
But even though we've finished the book,
We're still left with questions.
mysteries to ponder.
Like, what happened to the Knights Radiant?
What exactly are the Voidbringers? How dangerous are they?
And what about Dalinar's visions? What do they mean?
And we can't forget about the wider Cosmere.
Right, this whole network of interconnected worlds.
How does Roshar fit into all of that?
It's like Sanderson has given us a keyhole glimpse.
Into something vast and mysterious.
It's up to us to figure it out.
To explore the rest of this universe.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the Way of Kings,
We want you to keep those questions in mind.
go back and reread those passages that caught your eye.
Those details that seemed curious.
Because this is just the beginning.
The journey through the Stormlight Archive has only just started.
There's so much more to discover.
Who knows what other secrets Sanderson has waiting for us.
That's the beauty of it all. We're all on this journey together,
Exploring these worlds, pondering these mysteries.
sharing our thoughts and theories.
That's what makes being a Sanderson fan so great.
It's a shared experience, a community,
United by this love of epic storytelling.
and incredible world building.
So we say farewell to Roshar for now.
But the journey doesn't end here.
There are more worlds to explore.
More stories to uncover, more mysteries to solve. This has been The Deep Dive.
Happy reading.